music tag. Which music tag, you may ask? Or you may be asking, what is a music tag? Okay, I'll answer both. It's a set of 20 questions, so the 20 question music tag, and it's about my musical tastes and things, so I'm gonna go through them, and if you have any interest in what my musical tastes are and were, then this is the video for you. First question, what bands slash artists do you own the most albums by? I do buy albums, own physical albums, and not just ones and zeros on a hard drive, and the artist slash band that I own the most albums by is the Swedish metal band In Flames. Here we go. I have 13 here, and even though one's cheating because one is like an EP and not a full album, because I believe I'm missing at least one album, but I have 13 In Flames CDs. Question 2. What was the last song you listened to? According to my Last.fm, if you're interested in Last.fm and you have a Last.fm, my Last.fm name is Bubble Tonic, and according to Last.fm, the last song that I listened to before recording this video was 7,000 Steps, and that's from the Skyrim album, and therefore the artist, which I'm kind of dragging out saying because I don't know how to pronounce it, the artist is Jeremy Soule? Someone correct me on that. Question 3. What is in your CD player right now? As you can see, I own CDs, but I don't actually have anything in my CD player right now, and because this is sort of spontaneous, I felt it would be cheating to just put a CD in the CD player and say, hey, look what's in my CD player. But I don't have anything in there right now. 4. What was the last show you attended? Last show I went to was Black Sabbath. It was 14th of December last year in Sheffield at the arena here. 5. What was the greatest show you've ever been to? I couldn't pick. I have 3 greatest shows. It's a 3-way tie. So that's a tie between Paul McCartney, the Rolling Stones, and Phil X and the Drills. 6. What's the worst show you've ever been to? Now, I didn't like this question because I don't like to be overly critical, and also you look a bit silly when you've paid a lot of money to go to a show to then say, oh, it sucked, because people are like, oh, ha, ha, you paid lots of money and it sucked. But the worst performance I've seen was at Hellfest 2012, so there you go, I didn't technically pay just for this band, but it was the new Guns N' Roses. And I've seen the new Guns N' Roses a few times, so I'm not like a huge hater of that band, even though it's not the real Guns N' Roses or whatever, but it was really, really bad. It just sounded terrible. I could only hear the bass and the drums and then over the top, and he had like a cold or something, and it just sounded awful and it gave me a headache, and I went off to find something else to do. So Guns N' Roses at Hellfest 2012. 7. What's the most musically involved you've ever been? And I take this question to mean, when was I the most into one particular band or something, the most obsessed? And again, that was In Flames in probably like 2008, 2009, 2010. Around that time I was pretty big on In Flames then. I was like member of the fan club, going to shows. So I went to an In Flames show by myself. That is how much I was into In Flames compared to the other people that I knew. So I got a meet and greet. So it's like, oh, I'm gonna go and meet In Flames and go to a show, but I couldn't get anyone to go with me, so I went by myself. 8. What show are you looking forward to the most? I have no tickets at the moment. Normally I have tickets to go and see something, or at least one ticket to say, oh, I'm looking forward to going and see this. But I have nothing, and there's nothing really coming up that I'd want to go to. I mean, if I had infinite funds, I'd really, 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 really want to go to Hellfest this year. They have a really good lineup, but it's a lot of money, not only to get a ticket to a show, but to get the bus to France and then to sleep in a field. It was like, no, I'm not going to be able to do it this year, unfortunately, and that made me very sad. But I have no other tickets, nothing else to look forward to at the moment. What is your favourite band shirt? Okay, I have a lot of band shirts. A few years ago you could have looked in my closet and the only things that I would have had t-shirt wise would be black band shirts. I mean, I have coloured shirts now, I have white t-shirts now, but I'd have to say my favourite one has to be the one that I own 3 of. It's these. I only have 2 here now because one is in a wash, and these are the older ones, so these are kind of worn out. My better example is not here. And if you watched my really early videos, I seem to be wearing this t-shirt a lot, but that down t-shirt design thing, gotta be my favourite t-shirt. Question 11. What musician would you like to hang out with for a day? I don't think I'd want to hang out with any musician for a day, like famous musician, and that's not because I don't like the musicians. I am big on music, but I'd like freeze up and pour with sweat and be really shy. 12. Who is one musician or group you wish would make a comeback? So this is difficult because there are lots of bands that aren't touring anymore that I'd like to see, but I've gone with Led Zeppelin, and even though, you know, John Bonham is dead, it would be Led Zeppelin. I mean, not to lessen the importance of a drummer, but I think with Jason Bonham you could still see Led Zeppelin and say, I've seen Led Zeppelin. 13. Who is one band / artist you've never seen live but always wanted to? And this is the band I will never be able to see live but would want to see more than any other band artist, and that would be the Beatles, obviously. You know, I don't think there's anyone else that I could possibly want to see more than the Beatles. Ideally a later Beatles, not tie-wearing, screaming girls Beatles, but more rooftops Beatles. Name 4 or more flawless albums. This was a difficult one because although I like lots of bands and artists and things, if you sit me down and say flawless album, and I take that to mean an album I can listen to on a loop, on a loop, on a loop without ever having to skip one of the songs, it gets more difficult there. A couple of AC/DC ones, Back in Black and Highway to Hell. Some other ones to rattle off through. The Beatles, Let It Be. The Beatles, although I love the Beatles, I'd have to be critical in that, you know, the Beatles are sort of beyond criticism in my mind, just because, you know, there's nothing and then there's the Beatles sort of thing. But there are a lot of Beatles albums that I can't say are flawless, because there are some tracks that I would, you know, just have to skip if it was on a loop, on a loop. Appetite for Destruction by Guns N' Roses. Trivium's Ascendancy, Opus Eponymous by Ghost a couple of years ago or so. The last 2 Machine Head albums, The Blackening and Unto the Locust, even though Unto the Locust makes me feel sick because I almost felt like I died the last time I went to see them. John Mayall and Eric Clapton, Blues Breakers, and pretty much everything that's sort of mid-age In Flames albums. So by that I mean not the first In Flames albums and not the latest In Flames albums, but everything in between. Although I've really started to move away a bit from metal music now, so I think that's why I like mid-age stuff. So not older stuff, because that's stuff before I got into the bands, and not newer stuff, because metal music and my interests have kind of gone in this direction, but stuff that I liked when I liked it, I still like. How many music-related DVDs / videos / things do you own? I counted them up. I'm not going to list them all, because I counted them up and there's more than 20, so I own apparently quite a few music DVDs. 16. How many concerts / shows have you been to? This was quite difficult to count up, because to do that I'd actually have to count each individual ticket, and I don't have all tickets. Because concerts have started doing this weird thing where you walk in now and they take the whole ticket off you, and then when you leave they give you someone else's tickets back. I don't know whether they do that where you live, but they keep doing that to me. Anyway, I don't have all my tickets. Here are a selection of some of the tickets that I have. So I built this frame with some of the tickets I just had knocking around that were just sort of starting to get creased on the corner, so I was like, I'll put those in a frame. And then I filled the frame, and I still had some left, and that was a few years ago now, so there's just no space for everything. Look, they're layered. But on Last.fm I have a list of all the bands / artists I've seen, so that counts stuff that, you know, I could have gone to one festival and seen like 20 bands, so it's not really how many concerts individual I've been to, but counting up all the bands / artists that I've seen and how many times I've seen them, I counted up to 245. So yeah, I've seen a lot of bands, I think. Well, I think that's a few. 17. Who have you seen the most live? Again, In Flames. It's a very sort of a wash of In Flames stuff, this Q&A for me. I don't listen to In Flames a whole lot anymore, but it took up a big chunk of my music listening time as I was growing up. And I've seen In Flames 6 times. 18. What is your favourite movie soundtrack? I am really big on movie soundtracks now. I don't know whether I used to be, but now I listen to movie soundtracks a lot, and a soundtrack can really make or break a movie for me. But the soundtrack that I listen to the most, and I listen to this front to back quite a lot, especially when I'm working, I like to listen to it while I work, and that is Kick-Ass, the movie Kick-Ass. The score version of that soundtrack, so not the soundtrack that has the songs on it from the movie, but the actual scores, so the backing music for that movie. 19. What was your last musical phase before you wisened up? My last musical phase before I wisened up? I haven't wisened up. I've changed the things I've listened to, but I don't have a sort of embarrassing phase. I know some people kind of really change. When I was listening to rock music at one point, or metal music at one point, those people now are completely different, and I think that they would maybe be slightly embarrassed or joke about the stuff they used to listen to. But I don't. I embrace everything that I used to listen to, and I don't think my musical tastes change, but they don't leave behind what I used to listen to, so I haven't wisened up. Final question. What's your guilty pleasure that you hate to admit liking to? One of my favourite things about no longer being a high school kid is I don't have to have guilty pleasure music. When you're in high school and you're a teenager, you have to sort of listen to what is cool or in with your group of friends, and now I just listen to whatever I want and no one's here to judge me for my musical tastes. So I don't really have anything that I would consider a guilty pleasure. I listen to some things that other people might say are guilty pleasures. I listen to some cheesy 80s big hair music like Poison and Bon Jovi and Def Leppard. I mean, those are fun, they're cheesy and fun to listen to, but I wouldn't say that it's a guilty pleasure. Okay, so that was the 20-question music tag. Maybe you've learnt something about my musical tastes, or maybe you weren't all that interested in the beginning. Who knows? You do. I actually quite like that. I thought that was different. Normally these tags are like, what is your favourite band? What is your favourite album? What is your favourite song? But that was a little bit different, so that was good for me, I think. What you can do now is I'm going to post these questions in the description to this video, so if you like, you can either take those questions and answer a few of them, or all of them, or none at all, but you know, you can answer them and leave it in the comment section, and then other people can see them, if that's something you want to do. Or if you're really creative and jazzy and all that, you can take the questions and you can make your own video, and then if you want, you can link your video in the comment section of this video, and then other people will find it and see it and watch it and things like that. I hope you enjoyed this video. Thank you for watching. Hope to see you again soon. Farewell!